Carlos Rubio, I want to take your question that I see here. I'm interested in your question. Remember your ADES build. Are any of the components or hard to come by components easier to access now? Would you make a different build? Yeah, Carlos Rubio, today if I were to do my ADES build, I would choose the Foxeer Reaper flight controller and ESC. I don't know the exact model number, but Foxeer Reaper has an ADES, ESC, and flight controller so that you don't need an external voltage regulator, and that's a really big deal. The other thing is that they're sold on Pyrodrone. There's a new motor. It's RC in power. RC in power has a new 1600 is. RC in power has a new 8S motor, 1600 kV. And that is one of the only commercially produced motors specifically intended for 8S. It's that 1600 kV that makes it specific to 8S. And that would be a great motor to choose. It's an expensive motor. But if you're doing an 8S build, then you're kind of balls to the wall, right? So that would be a great motor to choose if you're doing an 8S build today. What is the quietest props for a tiny whoop? Tiny whoops are pretty freaking quiet to begin with. Are 2 blades quieter than 3 blades? Is there that much difference? They're so freaking quiet to begin with. Helios asks, are there any 8S chargers? Yeah, the ISDT Air 8 is one. That's the one I use. There are a few others. Analog video out to iPhone options. I don't know that iPhone has a video capture card that takes analog. iPhone accessories are kind of limited compared to Android accessories. A 5-blade prop is quieter? That's interesting. I feel like bi-blades would be the quietest, but that's just a guess.
We're using the term quiet, but are we talking about decibels, or are we talking about like actually what you're going to hear as far as frequency, right? Because 5-blade versus 2 blades, I think that's a frequency thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, like the 5 blades might move it into like more of a whooshy territory than a whiny territory, for example. I don't know. I'm not sure about that. I think that's something that somebody with more experience with whoops would have to answer. I can only guess. Matinel asks, I'm just getting into FPV. I have 700 hours in the simulator. What RTF kit should I get? 700 hours in the sim. For real, though. That's a lot of hours in the sim. What ready-to-fly kit? If you really want a kit that is goggles, controller, battery, charger, everything, then I would steer you to Rotor Riot. If you're willing to buy the controller and the goggles separately and set them up, then I would not necessarily steer you away from Rotor Riot, but there would be other choices. But if you really just want someone, look, here's the starter kit, 6S. Boom, starter kit, everything, boom, arrives, ready to go, bound, just turn stuff on, plug stuff in, and go fly. And it's one of the only vendors that offers this experience in like a 5-inch quadcopter. And with 500 hours or 700 hours in the sim, you're ready for a 5-inch. I mean, treat it with respect and care because it is dangerous, but yeah, I'm confident you can fly the damn thing. Yeah. That's where I would steer you. You don't have to pick this kit. They have several different starter kits. They have a bunch of different starter kits, and you just pick which starter kit you like the best. Thank you, Technically Tom. Here is an AV adapter for an iOS device. No, that's an output. That's an AV out, not an AV in. So never mind. Sorry about that. Abraham says that the newbie drone Ozzy props, Azzy, are delicate but very quiet. It's really going back to the question of the most quiet one. Bubby FPV. Bubby FPV famously annoys me. I've talked to him about this on stream, so it's not like I'm talking out of school. I don't like to talk shit about people behind their back. So I talk shit to their face, and then we're good, and we know where we stand. Famously annoys me with his spoiler on the back of his quad. Now he is continuing to annoy me by releasing a 2205 motor for 5-inch freestyle. 2205. It's 2016 again, apparently. And it's 2004 kV, but that's on 6S. Bubby's finally going to 6S. He's going to 2000 kV 6S on a 2205 stator motor. And he famously is not that concerned with weight. So it's not like it's an ultra lightweight, you know. It's not like it's a 400 gram 5-inch. It's like a full fat. So he's going to fly a GoPro, a battery, a full battery, a spoiler. I mean, he's probably in the range of 750 grams at least. On a 2205 motor. And I asked him, what the hell are you thinking? Those weren't my exact words. And he was like, I find that the lower stator volume makes the motors smoother because they're less responsive. And then I was like, well, that's backwards of everything. I mean, he was like, whatever, I like it. That's my motor. I am very interested to find out, like, if Chris Rosser tests this motor, what he has to say about it. Because, like, if you were... So there's an argument about smoothness. There's an argument that weaker motors are smoother because they smooth out the ups and downs of the movement, and therefore the motor itself has some sort of built-in low-pass filter, if you will. But the problem is that in order to, like, respond to prop wash, you need responsiveness. The motor has to be able to respond in the, say, 30 to 80 hertz range, which is, I'm not sure the exact frequency, but that's roughly where prop wash is. And if the motor can't respond in that range, then it can't smooth out prop wash. And so if you define smoothness as the motor being less responsive, then this accomplishes that. But if you define smoothness as the quadcopter itself flying smoothly, then a less responsive motor is counter to that. And it's tough because Bubby is an amazing pilot, and I have no doubt that he's flown the shit out of these motors and is sincere when he says he likes them better. And he's going to fly them, and they're going to be amazing. And he's going to fly amazing. But I was like, why didn't you build like a 2207, but then if you want it to be like weaker, build it with a bigger air gap or N48 magnets? And he said, well, the 2205s are lighter. And I'm like, yeah, but do you care? I mean, how much lighter? Not that much lighter.